Salastani Brosta the last winner with the Honus Garak Talamage, Gnohana Corlisha, Le Crinnock, Le Cartanock, Agus Le Cor, Han Soccer the Ga Anya in our Gundifane, Agus Han Shiakona, Hun Coentish, Agus Han Kurt in our dearer fod, Idr Hui Agus Has. Doric doing and Yerma Dirt the Tree Priest or Dearna, and I'm not her Agus and Vic, Agus and Spirit.
Thanks, Pauline. Now, good afternoon, everybody. We have the agenda is quite large, so what Sligo Strandhill done this morning in relation to the roads programme was they asked questions in relation to the programme. We have the briefing that was circulated last Thursday, so if is everyone happy with that format? Just with the hour and 55, we have 15 items on the agenda, so item number 1, to confirm minutes of the meeting of the Municipal, Sligo Drumcliff, held on 18th January 2021. Proposed Councillor Fox, seconded Councillor Casserly. 2 matters arising. Neil. 3, to consider the schedule of Municipal District Works 2021, including draft roads, transportation infrastructure programmes. And we have received the report. So, Councillor Fox.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for the report. It's a very detailed report and the updates on the projects that are mentioned in it. Just in relation to the Lugatober realignment, there wasn't much mention. Has it been announced, the contract for that yet? Has it been awarded, should I say? And when is it due to commence? It's a very important route. I suppose the N16 generally is a very important route. I see there's funding allocated for from Lugatober to the county boundary, the county Leitrim boundary, the Lugatober to Willowbrook, and the Willowbrook to Barrow Road. It's a very busy route, and even throughout the pandemic, it's for cross-border trade, and that it's badly, the resurfacing and the pavement works badly needed doing, especially the road markings in the interest of safety on our roads. We had a collision there on Saturday evening as well, so if we could focus on that, it would be great. The winter maintenance programme too, I see there's no increase in that. I was wondering if there could be an increase of some sort for the winter maintenance. Generally, it's good to see a 6.1% increase in the restoration programme. And I've also noticed that in the Eastern Garavogue Bridge project is funding of 250,000. So hopefully, I think I heard our CEO, or Tom Kilfeather there this morning, speaking on the radio, saying that hopefully it'll start in the second half of 2022. That's positive work. I'm delighted to hear that. I was delighted to hear all of the announcements today as well. So thank you for your time.
Will we go to the director, or do we want to senior engineer?
Well, I thank you, Cuirealach. In relation to the minor improvement scheme at Lugatober, the contract documents are effectively complete now. We're almost ready to go to tender, which we need final TII approval. Just TII are fully behind the scheme, and it's just a question of timing for that approval. But we would hope that we will get it around the middle of this year, and that we will be able to go to tender then in the second half of this year. But as I said, it is subject to final confirmation of funding, but they are certainly very supportive of the scheme.
Thank you. Thanks, Emer. Councillor Casserly.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I just want to, welcome the reports and pay credit to the work that has been carried out in particularly difficult times during COVID by the staff. And it's just a question, I suppose, in relation to with all the projects that are coming on stream, and it's great to have all this funding. Do we have enough staff? Even when the restrictions hopefully will lift fairly soon and construction work will start back again, have we enough staff? I suppose that's always the question to start the schemes and maintain the schemes. And then you're going to have a few, because of funding, you'll have a few going on at the same time. So do you have plans for hiring more staff, or have you enough? Or is there a facility and capacity for that? Thank you.
Well, we're at the moment we're reviewing the staff, but we will certainly try to maximise what we can do. Some schemes allow for staff, some schemes don't allow for staff. So we're reviewing it at the moment, but we're very cognizant of the need to have the staff to deliver this.
Thanks, Emer. Councillor Healy, do you want to go?
Sure.
Yeah, we got it on Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
On the roads.
No, I suppose this will all be down to COVID-19 if any of these jobs are certain or anything like that. So I suppose there'll be put on it. Just in relation to works that's being carried out at the moment, our own works itself, have we enough staff to do that, separate from any major contracts that might be certain?
Director Services?
We're progressing with our own programme, and we expect to be able to carry out our own programme. Yes.
Thanks, Emer. Councillor Gilroy.
Yes, thanks for the report. Look, first thing I suppose is there a new 3-year plan now? I think last year was the end of the old 3-year plan. And have we got that for the roads, or is that just a work in progress? Is this year one of a 3-year? That'll be the first question. I have a few kind of localised ones then. The L7118 from Cliffany, the Church Road. Just wondering whether there's going to be car parking spaces or not. I've had approaches saying they don't want them and approaches saying they do want them. Some want the greening piece kept and some want the car parking put into it. Ardnaglass and Groga, the Ardnaglass Road, it's going to be done up as far as the turnover Groga, but the other end of it is just as bad and it's actually flooded. I don't know, is there a drain blocked in it at the moment? The big one in North Sligo that has been brought up by myself and others on several occasions is the L3301, the Bog Road between Munyanane and Mount Edward. We keep getting told it's going to cost an awful lot of money to do it and that it needs, it's called the Bog Road for a reason and we know that and it sinks. And I see there's a few things about bridges and things like that and footpaths. Pedestrian access at the bridge at Grange Post-Primary School. There's an awful lot of students being put out onto the road there. And they're obviously, there's a road safety issue there that they're not getting safely to school. And it's something that a lot of the parents have brought up with me. Thank you.
Director?
This is year 3 of a 3-year programme, so next year will be the start of the next programme. But for the questions that you've asked there, I'll ask Senior Engineer Tom Brennan to come in on that. Thank you, Tom.
Sorry, can you hear me there? Just hello, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Tom.
Okay, just a few questions there. Like Councillor Fox asked about some of the schemes on the N16. There is some, as well as the minor scheme, the realignment scheme, there is some surfacing projects to go ahead this year on that particular route. And I think he mentioned them there in his question, but they will be starting this year and expect to be completed this year. He just mentioned winter maintenance. We will be reviewing winter maintenance funding and the amount of plant we have for winter maintenance this year, and as well as that, with the new N4 we'll have an additional length of road to Grit, so we need to review our winter maintenance in that light. As Emer said, in the 3-year plan, this is the 3rd year of the 3-year plan. There's some details there regarding I would say Grange Post-Primary School. Yeah, we're looking for funding to build footpaths from the village out to Grange Post-Primary School under active travel, and that would include possibly a footbridge adjacent to the existing bridge. So we're actively pursuing that at the moment. There's some more localised issues then. I might just need to defer to Mr. Noon here, Declan Noon, he may have the answer to them. I'm not sure. Declan?
Tom, yeah. Good morning, everyone. I think good afternoon, I should say. I think you referred to Cliffany there, Donald, and look, we'll have a look at that. I've looked at that road along with you, and certainly the provision of parking may act as a traffic harm measure more so than anything else. Where there's width there, we'll consider, but that will be in provision of lining. So that's something that we'll consider moving forward with the improvement programme. In relation to Ardna Glass, the other section, that will be something that we'll, I suppose, include for consideration in the drafting of the 2022 to 2024 programme, the 3-year programme there. We can include that. And again, you mentioned the L3 301, the Bog Road. Again, that's another road that certainly will be included for consideration again in the drafting of the 3-year programme next, or it probably will be happening towards the back end of this year. I think that covers all the kind of the localized questions, Tom.
Okay, thanks. I think we've responded to the questions there, I hope.
Yeah, thanks, Declan. Tom, Councillor Gilroy just wants to come
sorry,
back
just thanks for that, Declan. The Cliffany one, I suppose, people definitely want to see some sort of a traffic calming when it is done, because obviously new surface, good road, and the day you and I visited, we saw the speed some of the people were coming up and down there. There's a lot of housing estates along that stretch of the road. I really think we need to, there's a funeral home and a church there along with all the estates, and it needs a little bit of thinking about. Some sort of a brake has to be put on the traffic, because they come down there as if they're already on the N15. Some of them are after coming out of the estates themselves, and they're still putting on their seatbelt and putting the phone into the holder and everything else, and maybe not concentrating as good as they should be. And I know you can't do a lot about that, but whether it can find some way into some sort of a speed reduction feature, whether it be a bump or rumble strips or whatever, to try and put a control on it, would be very welcome. Thank you.
Councillor Healy wants to go.
Just on what Donald was saying, is there any chance there we could maybe apply for a low-cost grant for that area on the low-cost scheme? Because there is serious issues with speed, also with access for the housing estates in the area coming out there. And just in relation to the winter maintenance grant the maintenance, if we're having a look at that, we might also have a look at the old Galway Road in Calooney. It's an issue that has come up on several occasions, where that's the only road that never has been gritted, and it's an important part of the road because a lot of people use it as well. So if that could be looked at and included, it'd be appreciated.
Thanks, councillors. I have a number of queries, but I will, in the interest of the meeting, I will liaise with Tom and Declan directly. Just on one thing, I suppose, I would ask that the active travel scheme be spread across our smaller towns and villages where possible. I know I said this at the SPC, but just in relation to the cycle lanes and footpaths, that the likes of our smaller villages, and I won't go into them, there are a number of members have highlighted a number of projects across them, and I suppose it's important that the rural towns and villages have access to a level of funding, so like we see in the level of funding that's coming into the Sligo area. So it is something that I would urge the engineers to, and I know of Tom, we had a discussion, for example, the Castledargan to Ballygawley village route on Friday last. It's important these schemes come forward. There is a lot of money under active travel, and it's important we progress this. I suppose I just want to thank the engineers. I know Damien and Connor are both online, and Declan, particularly over the last period, getting through the roads programme with COVID-19. I think they've done a huge amount of work, and to spend and get through the roads programme as was passed last year. I think they've done very, very well, particularly over the pandemic and the obstacles that were faced. So I want to thank them for that.
The special improvement grant, I see here that Glen, and I welcome the money that's spent on Glen, 120,000. That's the second year that the Tubbercurry Ballymote has been fitted into that area. I know that there's a number of issues on that road, and I welcome the funding there. But I also asked that in our area that we'd also be included in that. And the road highlighted with you was the R290 that runs from Colonia straight across down into Drumcliff. Now, in fairness, a group of us there have worked tirelessly on doing a lot of the work that the council said at the beginning was impossible to do. And that was getting land off farmers to take the cares of the road at Kilross, working with farmers in relation to a number of spots along the road where water had been lodged so that they would take the water into their own land, working with the school in Ballantor to bring in a low-cost accident scheme to address the village, the speed going through the village. Also looking for signs at Ballygawley, where we addressed the issue there at Ballygawley. So what I'm asking you now is, us in the area and the residents and the farmers, everyone has done their part. We're asking now that we be considered next time out for this grant. For the simple reason is take some of them bad turns out of that road where a lot of people was killed or seriously injured. We've shown there, and it's with the Garage report, the amount of people that was killed or injured on that road. So I think the community have done their part, and I think now is the time for the council to step up and to work with us and to see can we get the rest of this road addressed. There's serious parts of that road that needs to be addressed. Lorries are meeting. We have reports from the CIE where they meet with lorries and they can't get by. That a lorry has to reverse down the hills and in certain areas of it. So I'm hoping now that, as I says, the 2021, I don't know, are we still entitled or are we out of it? But we still seriously need to have a look now at that road. As I says, the residents, the farmers, everyone has played their part, and the group that was set up there have played their part down through the years, getting where we are now. And I know when I came on this in 2014, at that time, there was a problem with it. But we've addressed everything that the council have asked us to do. Now we're asking the council to make sure that we are represented here and that funding is sought through that scheme, that we can get something done with it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. I think we all support the comments. Now, item number 4, to note the public consultation for the introduction of draft parking control bylaws 2021 for Ross Point and Mullaghmore villages. The reports for both were circulated, so it's just to note them today. I want to thank the senior engineer. I know we had a very positive meeting in relation to Ross's Point 2 weeks ago with the Development Association and the businesses, and I fully support the introduction of the bylaws. I think there needs to be a way forward, and we need to see some sort of approach where we have a level of regulation. So just to note, does anybody have any input?
Just that I don't know about other councils, but I also made representation on that, talking to Declan Noon and all. I didn't hear of any of these meetings, or made countless emails to the local engineer regarding this and what we're going to do about it. Came up with proposals as well on what way I could see it worked, and that was with members from Ross's Point. But we never heard anything about a meeting.
No, well, I suppose the Development Association approached myself. It was my own. I asked for a meeting. So, but the bylaws came up with the SPCs, as you were on the call the other day. You will be familiar with the bylaws. It was tabled on the SPC agenda. The SPC, the Councillor Gilroy chairs. So, would you like to make a comment or observation in relation to the bylaws? Yeah.
I think 3 of us were, so maybe the other 2 councillors might have an input in it. We've already said a piece on it. I think Emer's heard enough of us.
Yeah. So they're noted. I'm happy to propose that. To note the recent funding award announcement from the department. Councillor Castley noted. Item number 6. To consider amendment to item 5, standing orders, Municipal District of Sligo and Cliff, hour of meeting. And I suppose this has come up time and time again over the last period. We hadn't a procedures meeting, just to inform everyone, we hadn't a procedures meeting since the last meeting, but I spoke with Kevin Careevy and he advised me that if it was tabled as a headed item on today, that we could adjust the hour of meeting. So is it proposed that the Sligo Drumcliff will meet at 10 a.m. going forward?
I second that. Our proposal
proposed by Councillor Gilroy, seconded by Councillor Fox. Item number 7.
Sorry. We'll probably have to look at a different day now in the month.
You know, we can't have 2 meetings at 10 o'clock on the same day, you know, so we'll probably have to look at going another Monday in the month, you know, just to be aware of that, you know.
There's nothing wrong with the Sligo Strand Hill Municipal District meeting in the afternoons. We've done our 1.5 to nearly 2 years now.
That's not a matter for the executive now. No. That's, you know, that's a matter for the esteemed members of the council to decide. Yeah. But look, if the members of Sligo Drumcliff want to be assured of a morning meeting, I'm just saying we'll probably have to go another Monday. Yeah. You know, just to be aware of that.
Through the chair, I propose that you as chair bring it to the other 2 chairs and see how it goes and then come back to us. That's the handiest way. If we have a year of it done, say to them, look, it's time to I'm sure we can all do a rota system on it. And that's the fair way to do it.
Yeah, the Tubbercurry one won't have an impact because they're meeting in Tubbercurry at 2 o'clock anyway, so it doesn't impact our meeting, but it's the Sligo Strand Hill one, I suppose. But I can talk to the chair, Councillor O'Grady, on it.
Well, it was, you know, my recollection of it, and anyone can correct me on it, but my recollection when the full council discussed this at the very early stage, it was that it would rotate between the 2, and I thought it was going to rotate every second meeting, but I think we've got nearly 2 years now of second place, and it impacts strongly on my day, I have to say, when it's in the middle of the day. So. Yeah.
No, I think all the members are in support that we'll be having a 10 o'clock meeting going forward, so I will liaise with Councillor O'Grady. And motions, so item number 7, Councillor Castley, seconded Councillor Healy. If there's a report.
Coherlock. National Spring Clean, which is an initiative run by Antashka in conjunction with local authorities, kicks off in April. So community groups who have not registered are urged to register their details as soon as possible with Antashka, who will in turn arrange for bags and gloves to be sent by post to the community groups. This campaign has been promoted on the council, social media platforms and local press. However, additional awareness work associated with littering and dog waste will be considered in the coming weeks in conjunction with the Regional Environmental Awareness Office.
Thanks,
thank you. I welcome that, particularly the additional awareness. I know that I just want to pay tribute to the volunteers and community groups who do take part annually in the National Spring Clean, and also to thank the local authority for the support in collecting the rubbish and recyclables, and particularly James McGowan out in North Sligo. And I know that it has been raised, the hazards of dog waste. It's on every media platform, particularly over the last I suppose 6 months. I suppose more people are out walking their dogs, but it has been brought to my attention. Some towns are particularly, or villages are particularly bad. I'm not sure. I know before bins have been suggested, there are new types of bins that are out there now for the collection of that waste. I don't know if it's, you know, if it's appropriate or if it's possible to get even a bin on a main street in those towns. I know that at Streeja they had those bins and they had to take them out because people were leaving their household rubbish at the dog bins, which is just beyond comprehension. So I know it's a huge issue, and I just think that we need to be bombarded. And again, I heard a piece from Donegal County Council, the lack of enforcement, I suppose, or the difficulty in enforcing and giving fines. But I think it's the way that we'll have to go now. So I welcome the awareness. I'm presuming it'll be in the papers and on the radio as well. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to hearing those and to reading about those. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor.
First of all, I'd like to commend the great work that our Tidy Towns does across the area, and I would encourage people as well. Everyone has a part to play in this, and if everyone brings home the rubbish, it's less work for the Tidy Towns as well. I like that incentive that the council have run out now at the moment with the spraying on the road where it shows about dog litter and that. I know I was contacted by a number of different groups in relation to the dog bins, but they're very expensive. first to put in a dog bin, and secondly, we have who's going to maintain it, who's going to look after it. So there's a double whammy there, because I know talking to them in Ballasdare that they were on about getting in a bin, but we've no one to empty it either. So we just have to be careful what way we're doing. I see over there in the park over here that you can go in and there's little bags you can get and maybe put them in. But there's a cost to all this. As it says, if you have a dog, you should be well able to look after him. And I mean, as it says, if he does that and bring it home with you too, no more than the rubbish. But look, I support the motion. As it says, rubbish is a serious thing in this county. Thank you.
Yeah, I too want to support the motion. Can I just check, I suppose, where the community groups and estates were getting funding in the past for dog litter and dog bins, etc., stencils, stenciling on the paths, they were getting it from an anti-dumping initiative or an anti-litter fund. I think it was anti-graffiti as well. There was another stream. But is that not open and going forward, or is this scheme closed? Because it was an annual scheme that opened every year for the resident associations.
Yeah, we're expecting it again this year. It hasn't been announced yet, but I think just on a general note, I think we're very cognizant of the in particular the whole summer season and the influx of visitors and indeed for our own residents, and we're very conscious of that, and we intend to have a focus on our in particular our coastal areas and our amenities, just to have a good offering, so it's all linked really, to try to present our offering in a good light. So we look at the whole area of awareness in that regard. So for sure.
Councillor Gilroy.
Yes, again, to reiterate what everybody else has said, new tidy towns groups are having a little bit of a problem registering it because of COVID, and maybe the council could check with the tidy towns, because it is linked to one of our grants that if you're an acceptable tidy towns applicant, you get the grant. So there's one area I know of that have been unable so far to get actually registered with them. So maybe a letter could go to them to say that there is a grant through Jude and all the rest. I note that the only mention of within the areas on the budget for the earlier item was 30,000 for Sligo for tidy towns, and maybe that should be a little bit more evenly spread out among all the areas within the counties. And finally, from the rubbish and the littering and that, there's a bin out at Mullins. I think we discussed it here the other day at the SPC, which you pay a fee to put your bag into, and it crushes it. I don't know if that could be encouraged, maybe at some of the places where there are bottle banks and things like that, that could be encouraged, because it is a clean operation. And if people have a genuine good feeling and just can't find, if you're on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday, where do you get rid of a bag of rubbish? Out of your caravan or your mobile home or your rented house or whatever? So they may be worth considering, and that the supplier of those could look at maybe putting them at some of the other points, especially the bottle banks, because people would use them, full stop.
Thanks, Councillor. Item number 8, Councillor Healy, seconded by Councillor Gilroy.
Yes, Coherlock, I have a report here from Irish Water. So thank you for your recent correspondence requesting an update on the new wastewater treatment plant in Clooney. So the Clooney wastewater treatment upgrade is nearing completion. Final electrical installations are underway. Commissioning of each element of the works will be followed by a 28-day test period. It is expected that all works will be completed in April 2021. So I trust you find this information helpful.
Fair play to you, and I appreciate that. It's something that I've been campaigning on since 2014. The old treatment plant that was there wasn't working, wasn't suitable for the amount of people that had come into the area. As it says, if you look at Clooney, the population has increased over the last 10 years. As well as that, we had a couple of instances where the overflow from the old treatment plant was going into the Omo River, which wasn't helpful for fish stocks or the fauna or anything else. So I'm delighted to hear that it was badly needed on the cards. Treatment plant is, and as I suppose there's enough of there'll be enough of it there to build for Colooney to build in the future as well for factories or anything else. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councillor Gilroy.
Yeah, I'd like to back that up. There's, I know that there's other housing planned for the Colooney area and applications ready to go in. So it's great that the capacity will be there to take these houses and businesses. Thank you.
Yeah, I too want to support the motion. Item number 9, Councillor Healy. I'll second that.
Yeah, this is an ongoing issue as you're on your entrance into Union Wood. There's a part of the road that is lower than when you go in. You go down into a kind of a U and back up again. And what happens is any rise in water at all that comes out across the road. A number of cars have come off the road that are not used to going down there. As you know, a lot of people go down there for with their bikes. Biking, and also people that goes down to visit the area. They carried out a study there not so long ago, just before COVID came in, and there was 80 cars a day travelling down that road for people to use the facilities that's down there. So I've spoke with Quilsha regarding the side banks and asked would they be able to help us, and they're willing to work with us. They're willing to put in a pull-in area, which would be helpful there. But the council need to rise the road there and to stop so cars won't go in off the road. Now, in fairness to Sligo County Council, there was other problems there earlier on. They came and they put in posts along with reflectors on it, so people knew exactly where the road was and where it wasn't. Maybe that might be something in the short term that you could put there as well. So as it says, when the road does flood and the bridge floods, there's a number of houses down there who can't get access out. So as it says, if we can do anything there to address this, it's an ongoing issue. It's gone on now for a long number of years, but as it says, access in and out needs to be addressed. A couple of cars went off the road, so the last thing we want is somebody be hurt. So I'd appreciate if something could be done about this. Thank you.
Yeah, Emer, if you want to come in first.
Well, just that limited discussions have taken place regarding this proposal to date. However, Sligo County Council will engage with the relevant stakeholders in the coming months.
Yeah, I too want to support the motion, and I suppose I have a motion down in relation to Union further down the agenda, but I support what Councillor Healy says. I suppose I'm in Union at least every second day, if not every day myself, and from the Colooney side, I know Councillor Healy has alluded to a pull-in area, but there needs to be some sort of a safer car park area, particularly from the Colooney side. Union is extremely busy, like all our recreational areas across the county, and we're very lucky in Union in that we have access from Ballygawley, access from Ballysodare, and access from Colooney, and it's important that we have infrastructure that supports how busy these amenities are, and I'll talk about the Union piece further. So I support the motion. Again, yeah. So it's item number 19, seconded by Councillor Healy. I suppose in relation to this piece, I was disappointed there wasn't an application put in to the Outdoor Recreation Fund this year for the Sligo Way. There was money available for it. I had numerous motions down on this. The trail and bridges along the trail are in very bad disrepair. As I said, Union has become very, very busy, particularly the Union to Slish piece on the Waymark Trail. We spoke about a mapping exercise between our villages in Colooney, Ballygawley, Ballintor, and a map of access points to the Sligo Way, where you can park, etc., from our villages. So it'll allow people to go to the local shop for a coffee after the walk, or for an ice cream, or I suppose it'll allow for a collaborative piece between our villages, and that piece of infrastructure would be signposted. I also have in here in relation to a car park area along the R284, where there's an average of 50 or 60 cars parking a day along the regional road, and I don't, inside the fence there is it is all gravel. Quilsha have done that because they have removed a lot of forestry out off the union side off late, and they're currently doing it. So I don't think it would be an issue from Quilch's side. So I would ask that the local authority and the engineer engage with Quilcha to make a car park here that's safe. It currently isn't safe. Cars are backing in everywhere. There is a manhole that's sticking up out of the road. There's a number of cars have got damaged over the COVID period. I've raised this previously, I think on 3 occasions. So look, I know there's numerous sections involved here, not just roads. The economic section in terms of town and village is also a possibility for funding, but our areas and amenities now need to be invested in. So I would hope that we engage with Quilcha on putting in a safe, structured car park along that regional road, because the car park at Union at the main gates is often full and cars have no choice but to park along the regional road, and they're pulling out in front of cars along that regional piece of road. Also, and the final piece of the motion, just in relation to Loch Lomond, if we had Loch Lomond down in Killarney or Tralee or anywhere else down the south, there'll be a lot more made of it. I suppose the trail is in very poor condition, as I've mentioned. It's along the Sligo Way between Union and Slish. There's one seating area there. I think, on Ample we could have, there's enough people up there at any time for 6 or 8 picnic areas, and we should have some sort of a picnic area. Bins, yes, well, we'll encourage people to bring their rubbish with them. Yeah, but if we can look at putting in some sort of a picnic area up there and a viewing area over Loch Lomond, I don't believe Quilcha would have an issue with it. I think it's something that we should look at. I've raised this before. We haven't made application to the Outdoor Recreation Fund for some reason. The community, I suppose, aren't happy that we've been overlooked for the fund again this year. So I'll hand over to the director, and I know this is going across both the road section and the economic section. So, and we're going to Doherty. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I suppose the Sligo Way, one of our 3 long-distance linear walking routes, certainly is one that we are concerned about, and we certainly would like to see it further developed. Now, in a report that was previously highlighted to members last September, Quilcha are proposing to undertake improvement works along the Sligo Way, which will respond to and enhance the existing trail conditions along the section between Ballygawley and Slish Wood. Now, that work, of course, has been delayed because of COVID, and directional signage and waymarking can be considered as part of these trail rehabilitation works. In relation to the signage supporting map boards at the villages highlighted can be considered under separate funding schemes in collaboration with the community groups there. So that's something we certainly will consider. Directional finger post signage can also be considered by the council in conjunction with the area engineers and in accordance with, of course, with any road safety considerations which may apply. Funding has been secured in recent years for ongoing maintenance and upgrade of the Sligo Way, with the increase in the use of the off-road section from Clooney via Union Wood, Ballygawley Lake, Loch Lomond, Slishwood and Inishfree. And they are proving very popular with recreational walkers. So, and I know that in relation to the surface issues at the car park, Declan has kind of confirmed that the existing area at the entrance to the Sligo Way is essentially a pull-in area and not suitable for a car park. So the temporary surface can be repaired with stone, but the provision of a car park would require additional land take at that location.
Yeah, I want to thank the Director of Services for her reply. But while it's a pull-in area, while the car park is full at Union at the main car park, the cars have nowhere else to go to pull in here. So we either do something that's safe or we ignore the problem, because we're going to have a problem here and there's going to be an accident. We need to engage with Quilcha We need to make this into, there's no spaces, not an issue here. We can go back in, 20 metres back in. It is all gravel. It's not going to take, there's not huge expense in something like this. So I would ask that we engage with culture as soon as possible on this. As I say, our walkways are extremely busy across the whole county right now. And I know the director has done huge work in relation to new projects that are coming on stream from the Outdoor Recreation Fund, and her section has spent huge time on developing new walkways, which is very, very welcome. But the community of Ballygawley, Colooney and Ballysadare and Ballantor have raised this now on numerous occasions, and we can keep kicking the can, but we need to address the issue of car parking and the trail itself. And I've said it, there has been 3 motions down between municipals and the main meeting now, and we can keep coming back to it, but we have to address the issues. And I want to thank the director for the reply. Thank Councillor Healy wants to come in on it.
Yeah, thanks very much for your report. And just in relation to what Councillor Walsh was saying, where the car park is at present, the original car park, maybe is there any chance we could talk to Quilcha on extending that car park and have it just as one area instead of having a number of car parks all over the place? So what I'm asking is the car park that's there originally, that's down beside the old home, that we'd look at taking ground over there and keeping it all in one area. Because what's happening is at present is you have a lot of cars parked there, but you have a lot of kids as well on that main road. So if they were down in the other car park, you could keep it all in one area, and as well as that, access then is straight through. Another issue that we raised in Ballygawley, and the Tidy Towns and myself met with Michael Carty at the time, was looking for a footpath from Callan's pub down into Union Wood and talking to the farmers there. Now, we're not looking for a footpath and such, but an area that people could walk or cycle. It'd also open it up for that Ballygawley, Colooney and Ballysadare, the 3 villages would be tied into it. And that way then you'd also have it that the local pub there could provide sandwiches and teas and coffees, and also that might cater for a car park as well, that people are using the pub or that they can also park their cars there. Just one issue that Councillor Walsh raised, and that was in relation to putting picnic benches up the mountain. I don't know about that. I seen in Hazelwood where there was picnic benches put in, and we had a lot of people coming with the barbecues and using them. And the exact same happened down at Industry where Sligo County Council had an area there, and they would cause fires. So I just mean it's nice having a picnic bench. Any people I know, if you go up the mountain, just mean you have a rucksack in your back. You'll sit on a rock and look around you. So I just be careful of picnic benches in certain areas, because if it's a case that you have barbecues ranting up the mountains, we could be in serious, could have a problem on our hands. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I don't think the community are supporting like barbecues up there. They're supporting the development of the immediate at Loch Lomond. I think that's what the community have put forward through myself. So. Item number 10,
I second that.
I'll be very, very brief, but just when it's brought up again, Dorothy, just to again acknowledge from the item number 5 there, it has been said to me by fellow independent councillors around the country to pass on their compliments and their envious of the fantastic applications that Ray and Michael and your own department are making for these grants, and we are the envy now of a lot of other local authorities around the country. So they're just wanted to make sure that that's passed on where credit is due. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Casserly. Now, item number 10, Councillor Casserly, seconded by Councillor Gilroy.
Thank you. It's a report, please.
Yes, Coherlock. A no dumping sign will be installed at this location in the coming weeks, and monitoring of the area will be increased by the litter warden. Consideration will also be given to the deployment of covert cameras, subject to the appropriate area for installation of same.
Thank you. Yeah, that's positive report. The residents are just concerned because before the resurfacing of the lay-by, there was some dumping there, But now with the new lay-by, there's more people parking, more lorries parking, and it's actually being used as a toilet now as well. And the residents are getting very annoyed about it. So I'm certainly, they'll be very happy to hear that there'll be signs put up. And I know that down in Clifney that there have been mobile cameras fitted for the litter problem over the years, and I know that they have been successful in some areas. So I'd also welcome that as well. Thank you.
Can I just get clarification on the cameras? Because I thought under GDPR there was some problem with the cameras at the moment for litter spots and surveillance.
Yes, Councillor Gilroy, you're correct there. So we are looking at working with the guards in relation to that. So it's not straightforward, but we're looking at options.
Yeah, because I've requested it in a number of places, and that's the feedback I've been getting, that it's very difficult to do it at this particular stage. Now that spot there has been for a long time, has been, when it was unsightly looking, I think people thought they had a forgiveness, but now it's a lovely smooth surface, and you know, if somebody has to stop for a reason or pull over or take a rest even for a few minutes driving, it's a lovely spot. But it would be a terror to see it used now as a dumping ground. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Item number 11, Councillor Casserly, seconded by Councillor Fox.
Is there a report, please?
Coherlock, the position will be examined in light of a possible safety scheme at Rathcormac. The issue will be discussed with the TII Regional Safety Inspector, and if the proposal for a safety scheme is considered appropriate and feasible, the procedures for formal scheme approval under the Road Safety Improvement Scheme approval procedure published by the TII shall be implemented.
Thank you. I welcome that report, and I've spoken with Declan about it recently as well. It's just in relation to there's one particular pinch point there where there, I suppose, four lanes of traffic, or 4 lines of traffic coming into a very narrow spot on your turn, on the turn off to Kintoher. They're just at the top of the hill. So that's one of the problems or the issues. The other problem is, and actually I forgot to mention it to you, Declan, is that there's a sign on the wrong side of the road as you're heading north. I think it should just be on the other side of the road, just at this 50-kilometre speed sign. And also as well, there is an existing footpath, but it's quite overgrown now. Over the years, the residents who were there when they were younger, they were able to walk up and down quite safely. And again, because it's beside the school, a lot more people are walking their children to school. So there's just a few issues there. They're not huge individually, but I suppose there's 3 or 4 different things coming together. It's just stopping people and it's making the road unsafe. And another thing that I forgot to mention as well is just that there's the large TII road sign on your left-hand side as you're heading down the hill has been hit recently by a lorry. It must have been going at speed, and it took a good whack. So maybe that can be reported to the TII just to be repaired as well, because it's not doing the job that it's supposed to be doing. Thank you for that.
Councillor Fox.
Yeah, thank you for the report, and I want to support this motion. It's a very busy road again. Look at, as you come from Sligo down into to Rathcormac there, you're almost in the junction before you realise it. So I think we need to make people more aware further back the road, further back towards. And again, with tourists, people suddenly see Ben Bulbin straight in front of them, and you know, they're just, I suppose, a lot of people can be overwhelmed when they come around the corner and they see this very, I suppose, picturesque area. But it's just, look at, it is a very dangerous area, and there has been collisions there in recent times as well. People have lost their lives just there as you come down the hill, and I think we should do more to try and slow the traffic down as you come down. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Gilroy.
And thank you, Cahir. Look, yes, absolutely, and I think Councillor Fox hit it on the nail on the head there. It's down to speed, and we have increased the speed limit at that particular point from 60 up to 80. People weren't doing the 60, they were doing the 80 at the time, and they're now doing 100 at it. And there is going to be more accidents. We have agreed that we won't put in until September to start looking for a review of the speed limits. But that's definitely one of the crucial ones that I want to see reduced. Absolutely, just I don't know who audited that and said it was safe to put it up to 80 kilometres an hour, because it certainly, in my opinion, never was. It's very, very dangerous.
Councillor Healy.
Yeah, I want to agree with Councillor Gilroy what he's saying. When the review was on about speed, and that was one of the villages, that and Ballysadare was two of the villages that we asked that the speed would be left at 60 kilometres or less, because you are coming into a village. Speaking personally myself, I had an accident there during the local elections, where I was turning off heading down towards Feeley's garden centre. I had a small little trailer on the back of it, and a man took the trailer clean off the back of my car and drove it down the road. Lucky enough, none of it went over to the other side of the road. But we clocked his car. His car was doing 90 kilometres coming in there. That's what he was doing. And the guards pulled him in and checked it out. So it just goes to show you the seriousness of speed. I was lucky enough that I was only myself in the Jeep, that I had the children with me or anything. But if I had, there could have been a serious accident. So speed is on the increase there. His excuse when he pulled in, he didn't see the trailer, and he was travelling at such a speed because he had to get to a meeting in Galway. So it didn't matter what speed, unless he went on a helicopter. There was no way he was going to get to Galway in the time he was looking to get to it. So we seriously need to look at speed coming through our villages. I know it's something that we're all being hit with every day of the week. Speed is a serious thing. But like that, when you get into your car, you say what speed you want to do is too. So there's a lot of onus as well on the drivers. Thank you.
Thanks, members. Item number 12, Councillor Fox, seconded by Councillor Gilroy.
Is there a report?
Yes, Coherlock. Sligo County Council have engaged with the contractor carrying out these works on behalf of National Broadband Ireland, and understand that works are currently taking place to remove any branches left behind.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted to hear that. Thank you for the report. I've been asked to make representation on various places. Look, with the rollout of fast speed broadband, we wouldn't like to hold that up, I suppose, by slowing things up by cutting hedges. But a lot of the areas that I've been asked to make representations are prone to flooding, and the hedges were falling in on the drains outside many houses, and that's why I said I'd put it down as a motion. There are a lot of the areas that are initially going to be rolled out are in the Sligo Drumcliff Municipal District as well, so that's why I suppose so many people came to me and asked me to make representation. Thank you for the report.
Councillor Gilroy.
Yeah, again, supported, and especially the last line about the drains, because when you have widespread cutting of branches and things like that, if they do fall into drains, they're only going to block them. These will block culverts under the roads, and then the road ends up in an awful state. So we've seen it at several different places, not necessarily all down to these contractors, but down to others as well, and to private individuals. So it's something that a lot of it is going to be going on now because of the broadband, and because of that, it'll be very important that the drains and the culverts under the road are kept clear. Thank you.
Councillor Healy.
Just in relation to that, I'm sure that these contractors, who would they engage with? Are they engaged with the local authority, or who have they taken on the contract with? National Broadband. Because they were in the Ballysadare area as well, and cut a woman's hedge that nothing got through with at all, and left a pure mess behind them. I contacted local council, in fairness to them, and the road staff, and they says that they're getting reports as well about this contractor. So I think we need to be following up on it. If he's leaving a mess, he needs to be cleaning up after. Thank you.
Councillor Casterly.
Yeah, just to say that to support the motion, and actually I was out a couple of weeks ago out in North Sligo and got a puncture as a result of what was left on the road, and it doesn't look good for people, kids out walking as well, and parents with buggies and that. It doesn't look good, and if there's bigger twigs or branches, you do swerve to avoid them as well. So I suppose it's just a reminder to ask them to clean up after themselves.
Thanks, everyone. Item number 19, Councillor Healy.
13, isn't it?
Sorry, 13 rather.
I'd say.
Seconded by Councillor Fox.
Listen, this is a good news story. I've engaged with a local landowner down there who's willing to give a bit of ground there to the council. We're all aware of the makeshift gate that's going across the road down there, and that's there. The farmers have put that up to prevent the sheep coming down the mountain. But like that, there's been people driving up, they have to get out to open it and everything else. I met with a local farmer out there who's willing to work with us, who's willing to, and the local engineer. So we need to put a plan in place of exactly what we're putting in. What we're here talking about is putting in a grid across the road and also putting in a turnstile for people that can walk through, and also if anyone's going up to it, and also putting in a gate, a 12-foot gate, so when the farmers are bringing the sheep down from the mountain, that they'll have access to get them out. As I says, this is a long time in the making. There's a lot of work and time gone into this on my behalf, and as I says, we have an opportunity here now, so I'm asking the council to step up to the mark here. This is not the first time, as I says, we've seen the generosity of farmers across the country. We've seen it when the Ballassadere Road was being done. The farmer worked with us out there. We've seen it here. We've seen it in Kilross when we were looking for land to be worked with. So as it says, we have an opportunity here. So I'm asking the council that to put this top priority on the list, that this be looked at and addressed. And as it says, we have an opportunity now there to get something done up there. It's a major area. It's a major attraction. And as it says, the farmer there is leaving land there to us to work with him. So as it says, I know the councillor Gilroy also, in fairness to him, was great help and support on this. So as it says, we have an opportunity here to get something done. So I'm hoping that the council will come back and talk to us in relation to this. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have the director in first and then we'll go to the...
Okay, Cathaoirleach, Sligo County Council have engaged with the respective landowner to discuss access arrangements and intend to progress this scheme over the coming months. Councillor proposals funding was allocated to this scheme in 2020. However, some additional councillors' proposals will be required to complete the scheme.
Councillor Fox and Councillor Casserly.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to welcome the proposals, and I support the motion. I'm very familiar with the sheep. I come from a farming background myself. Those mountain sheep can be hard stopped. It's important that we build the grid wide enough so that it won't jump out of that. So look, it's great to see that the owner in question is engaging, and it's important for tourism, and that the proper gates are provided for there as well. And in relation to council's proposals, I'd be more than happy to commit to it as a councillor and support the motion. Thank you.
Councillor Casserly.
Thank you. I think it's probably one of the first motions that I had down in 2014. I've been asking since, and I have councillors' proposals put on that already. And it has been, I don't know how many times, I know that Damien and Declan, Damien in particular, is tired listening to me talking about it. And we have got commitments for that. Damien and Declan have been up there on numerous occasions. I've spoken to the landowners there as well. So I don't think it's fair just to say that one person in particular has been, dealing with it. I think it's an issue that is ongoing. It's very confusing for tourists and locals, and when they drive up there and they see the makeshift gate across the road, some of them think that the road is closed, it's a private road, and they turn around. It's dangerous even for turning around as well. And I understand, I've spoken with the farmers and I know who they are on numerous occasions, and I understand they have a problem as well and an issue. And it was all sorted that there be a cattle grid and that there be a turnstile, and I'm just waiting for the work to start. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gilroy.
Thanks, and I'd just like to be associated with it again. I've been asking about it. I think it was 2011 when we were campaigning in the general election. We started getting asked about it, and I remember getting a bit of an eating in Lang's bar one night about it after a canvass. But it was these things take time, and I think a few of you know the characters that are there. It's a what you call it, protected structure, that bar. But I tell you, the heads were nearly being banged up at that night. But look, it is necessary. I had one man come to me who said he flagged down the guards. He met the guards one day on the road, and he was up walking, and he met the guards. And when he walked on it, he said it to them. And when he walked on as far as where the wire is across the gate. He realised the guards had put it back up after they passed it. It's one of those things. If it wasn't there, there was going to be sheep down on the Ballintrellick Road causing accidents, and we all know the man that put it up. And I'm gone up there long enough to remember when he used to have a dog tied in a barrel each side of the road, and the two dogs could meet in the middle, and the sheep wouldn't come down. So it's come a long way since that, but really we need to finish it off. There's no reason why it shouldn't, and delighted to put my proposals towards it as well.
Thanks, everyone.
I just want to thanks for the report. And as it says at the beginning, we have it sorted now. We've spoke with the landowner. We met with the local engineer, met with myself and the landlord. So we have it in place. Let's get it done. Let's not be talking about it anymore. And I appreciate what we're hearing from the roads department, that we are going to start and get it done and get it addressed once and for all. So thank you.
Now, item number 14, it's my own motion, proposed by myself, seconded by Councillor Fox. Do we have a report?
Coherlock works will take place at Ballygrania Bridge this summer under the 2021 Bridge Rehabilitation Programme. Works at this triple arch bridge will comprise removal of vegetation to the overall structure and masonry repairs to arches, abutments and parapets. One of the cutwaters on the upstream face of the bridge needs rebuilding too. The contract for this bridge is due to be awarded this month, and works will take place shortly after the May bank holiday. Commencement date for works is subject to suitably low enough river levels to enable the contractor to carry out the work safely.
I want to thank the Director of Services for her reply. This is very welcome. I know I came on an accident here myself not too long ago, a motorcycle accident at this particular bridge. It's a very narrow bridge, anyone that knows it. I think there was 3 or 4 accidents in total over the last number of years at this bridge. So I suppose it was an accident that has caused the damage to the left-hand side of the bridge as you're heading for Ballygawley from Collooney. I suppose one of the homeowners beside the bridge was just a bit concerned, I suppose, that part of the verge will be taken as part of these works, but I understand that's not to be the case. It's just the funding, the 35,000 that has been allocated by the department is solely for the bridge rehabilitation itself. Yeah, thanks, the Director. Thank you. Item number 15, Councillor Gilroy, seconded by Councillor Casserly.
Report.
So Coherlock, this scheme will be included in our list of footpath schemes for consideration and assessment.
Thanks for that. I can early tell that Declan's hand is on that. He's good for short answers, but it's good to know it'll be included. So thanks for that, Emer. Look, there's a childcare facility, and it was brought to my attention that really, I had a motion in here a few months ago about the speed on that particular road. Maybe if there was a crossing, it would act as a way of slowing them down on it as well, maybe up near the church. But that there'd be a safe place. A lot of after-school children are coming to that facility as well. It has been brought to my attention that really they don't feel safe, and the parents are concerned about the safety of their children. So it's something we all, I think, would agree with. Child safety, it has to be paramount on our roads. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. I think everyone is supporting Councillor Fox. Councillor Cassery.
Support the motion, secondary motion. Yeah, it's a very busy road there for pedestrians of all varieties, and I just welcome the report as well.
Yeah, I think we all want to be associated with that. Item number 16, Councillor Gilroy, seconded by Councillor Healy.
Is there any report on that, or the Northwest Cycle Trail?
So I think Director of Services.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, the Northwest Trail forms part of a cross-border Sustrans devised and operated cycling trail between counties of Omagh, Donegal, Sligo, Leitrim, and Cavan and Fermanagh. Now, we also know that there's a little bit of a crossover between the Eurovelo route that we have recently been involved with with Donegal and Mayo. Now, Sligo County Council will carry out a survey of the Northwest Trail that those elements of it that fall within County Sligo, and we will revert with a report in due course.
Thanks very much for that. I suppose my biggest concern is there's one section of road just down from Creevy Keel at the far side of Cliffany, just down below that along the lake. I've raised flooding issues on that, and I actually believe a member of council staff was doing work along that road and actually drove off the road into the water because the road was flooded. So it really is a danger. People are being signposted to go into it on bicycles. It's a cycle trail, and it's not fit for purpose, to be honest with you, at the moment. And I'd appreciate, Cahir, if that could be dealt with as a matter of priority. They had a CIS application in, but unfortunately they weren't quick enough to respond to it, and they missed out this year. But I don't know if anything else can be done, but I'd be frightened of sending cyclists who don't know where they're going into a road like that, where they literally could end up in the lake. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Item number 17, Councillor Gilroy, seconded by Councillor Casserly.
My report, please.
Cathaoirleach, Sligo County Council Area Office will examine the locations identified in this motion on the N15 and identify any appropriate works to be carried out and seek funding from TII for same. The pavement at the northern end of Cliffney Village at the beginning of the 50 km/h speed limit zone shall be repaired under the Category B contract. It is anticipated that the repairs will be carried out within the next 8 weeks. Speed enforcement is a matter for the Garda Síochána. However, Sligo County Council can raise the issue of speed at these locations with the TII Regional Safety Engineer.
Councillor Gilroy.
Yeah, okay. Look, some of this has been done, and since this motion went in, the one outside the Yates Tavern, for example, I went in to collect the Mother's Day dinners yesterday and was complimented. It only took you a year to fill the pothole, which is a wee bit frightening, and I've raised it several times and brought it to the attention. The Rathcormac one needs to be done. That end of Cliffney Village, that's gone on. That's like that since last summer. That contract, I believe, was awarded before Christmas, and to hear now that it's 8 weeks that we're looking at, it's going to be May. It's going to be another 12-month job. There's a family there where their children wake every night with the sound of lorries banging against that pothole. Now, the lorries may be travelling too fast during the night, but that's beside the point. There's a racket being made, and a parent came to me who was very distressed that every night the child was waking up crying over this noise outside their house, and really we need to get it done. So really these need to be done. I suppose the speed survey, you know, really we're all complaining about them, but we need the figures, and the council is the only one that has the equipment that can do it. I don't know, do we have to liaise with TII, or we do? And is it them that installs them, or do they contract it back to us to do it?
It's TII.
And they do it themselves, do they? Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to catch out now. I'm just trying to get the line on it. So that I appreciate that, Emer. It really, those three places on the N15, we're getting rid of villages off other roads. Castle Baldwin is going to be gone off it. Colooney and Ballysadare to a certain extent. I know Ballysadare is still on the N59, but there was a time it used to be on the N4 as well. So we're under pressure on all these things. So I really would appreciate if the speeds could be monitored on those. And if there's anything else we have to do, whether we have to put it in as a motion at a full council meeting, that this gets done, but it needs to be done. We need to get the figures of what percentage of traffic and by what extent they're breaking the speed limits. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor. Item number 18, this is my own motion, seconded by Councillor Fox. Healy. Yeah. Do we have a report on this? I know I had this down very early in, I think in 2019 as well.
Cathaoirleach, it is intended to carry out a speed assessment on this roadway when resources allow.
Yeah, again, I have to say I'm disappointed that this wasn't considered for the low-cost accident scheme. last November. I think it warranted it. There are residents living along this, for anyone that knows, it's the Union Food to Ballysadare village. It's an extremely busy road, it's extremely narrow and it's extremely uneven. And residents now are, such as the speed, are having trouble getting out of their gateway. I have liaised with the traffic corps sergeant. There are going to be an increase in speed checks along this route. It's a very, for anyone that knows it, it's busy with cyclists, it's busy with traffic. It's the home, I suppose, the main entrance to Union walkway is on it, and also Young's Quarry, the recreational facility and AstroTurf soccer pitch in Ballysadare. Likewise, the recycling facility. We have people coming off the bridge out of Ballysadare at a very fast, a very high speed, and going into Ballysadare at a very high speed. And we need to look at this sooner rather than later. Residents have had sought the speed solar signs along this road. I had suggested that, I think, 2 years ago. I was disappointed that it wasn't included in the low cost safety scheme this year. I would ask that it be considered next year or this coming year in November, whenever the applications are going in for that scheme. I think we need to do something, particularly with the entrance coming out of Young's Quarry, leading into the bridge where it narrows on the way into Ballysadare village. We need to improve speed signage along it, and anything that can be done to improve safety on this road should be done, because, as I say, a huge volume of traffic at a high speed, and residents, such as the speed, are having trouble getting out their gateways along it. So, thanks, Director. Thank you. Unless anybody has anything else, item number 20 is correspondence. No correspondence. 21, any other business?
Yeah, can I just something I forgot about earlier on, and it's back to the roads budget. When roads are getting done, I'm getting calls afterwards about water running into people's properties. The contractors that are doing it seem to be very much running down the middle of the road and leaving low bits to each side. There was a section of road done at Mount Edward, and there's 5 houses on it. 4 of them have complained to me at this stage that the road is higher than their property and that water is running in, and that it's a trip hazard as they come out. And that seems to be the way in a lot of places. If you're raising the road, you have to look at the detail of what goes alongside it, and I'd ask that be prioritised. I know you can't be micromanaging the contractors when they're on the roads, so I'd appreciate if that could be done as well to make sure that that's not done. And I think a thing, Cathaoirleach, that has come up today on several occasions is things that have been brought up before, and our next meeting, I think, is in May. And that's 2 years since this council was elected. I think we should have maybe be given a review of each of the motions, any of the motions that are still outstanding that we're awaiting updates on, because a lot of things today seem to be either the person had brought it up or one of their colleagues had brought it up before. And I think we need to kind of draw a line under it and say, right, at the end of 2 years, everything is done except A, B and C, and that we can tidy it up, because there's no point bringing in motions if they're left. And I know one person has said to me that they're in the process of looking back over the motions to make sure they're all done. So I think it'd be important if we could even get it before the meeting as a kind of a prelim, that we can have an update on what's been done, because really, you know, we need. Thanks for that.
I will go to the Acton CD.
Well, Cathaoirleach, as far as is reasonably possible, we'll try and do that. But I think, in fairness, it's been fairly consistent for the last couple of years for various reasons that a lot of responses are as resources allow. And that's just been the reality of the environment we've been operating in. One, for a very positive reason, the number of capital schemes we've had and the number of staff that we've had to assign to those schemes. It's a huge difficulty, as the Director of Services will confirm, trying to get staff in to replace staff that are out in capital schemes. And really, that's been a huge challenge for us over the last number of years. We have a couple of schemes now that are finishing. We are seeing the light of the day in terms of particularly support for our road design office, who are absolutely critical to delivering pretty much any notice of motions that come in here in respect of roads. There's a design element to it, and we just haven't had the resources. I give the example, November 2019, 3 staff members left in 3 weeks out of our road design section, and trying to deal with that on top of COVID as well has really been very difficult for us. There certainly is chinks of light, I think, Emer, it would be fair to say, in terms of staffing now, and really, you know, that's been the main reason why we may have struggled in relation to some items over the last 12 or 18 months. Thank you, Carla.
Thanks, everyone. That's a wrap, and I think we've done it very efficiently.